Media Days, we bring in a very special guest in Mountain West Commissioner Craig Thompson. Commissioner, great to see you. How are you?
Good. This is a fun time of year. We've got a lot going on.
Absolutely. Well, it's almost basketball season, so are you ready for it?
Yeah, we're talking women's basketball today. Certainly football's full swing. We've got championships coming up in cross country, soccer, volleyball. The bowl season's not too far away, so it's that heavy fall time of year, but it's a great time, and our athletes are very excited to be competing compared to 2021.
A lot of excitement going on right now, and as we talk about games and events coming up, we got to talk about the fans. And this year we will be introducing the Mountain West Network app, which will be available for mobile devices and connected TV, and it will be launched in November. Can you tell us a little bit more about the news surrounding that?
Yeah, so what we've been doing and finding out nationally, certainly the last several years, the app and digital transformation and programming. And so we're very excited to be able to offer free of charge to our fans and to our alumni and membership the opportunity to watch archive games, live games, and as you mentioned, that's going to launch sometime hopefully in the next 30 to 45 days, but a great opportunity at no cost to follow your favorite teams and the Mountain West in general.
Well, this is just a reminder that if you have a question for Commissioner Thompson, to please enter the queue and raise your hand. Now, Commissioner, we also on September 20th announced a new social media hashtag campaign called Making Her Mark. This was a student athlete driven campaign that started with the Mountain West female student athletes submitting their ideas in August for the hashtag and then voting on their favorite finalists. So how is that campaign going?
It's gotten tremendous response from our board of directors, athletic directors, and of course, first and foremost, the student athletes, coaches involved. It's an opportunity to tell so many of the stories about our wonderful female athletes. And again, it's been very well received, and hopefully you've had a chance to look at it and dial in a little bit, because we just have some fantastic histories and stories to tell. These student athletes are really opening their hearts and letting us in.
Well, if you've got a question for Commissioner, please make sure to raise your hand in the queue. And right now, Commissioner, we do have a question for you from Kelly Lyle from the Fort Collins, Colorado. Kelly, you have the floor.
Thanks, Craig. How you doing?
Hey, Kelly.
I just wanted to ask you, with everything going on with conference realignment talk, things like that, is the Mountain West looking at expansion, and what is the status of any of those types of things?
Well, we've been doing a lot of talking, Kelly. We actually have an AD meeting again this afternoon. We've been meeting twice a week for several months now, and certainly the board of directors involved as well. We're really just looking at the landscape and debating what expansion would mean for the Mountain West Conference. If it's something that makes sense for us, we'll look at that. But really, I'm defining it as we're studying our options, plural.
Have you had schools reaching out to you in this process saying we would like to join the Mountain West?
No question. I've spoken to 2 presidents today from various universities. It's an ongoing, literally daily conversation that we've had with a number of institutions that are presenting a case that they would have interest in joining the Mountain West Conference.
Are there any concerns about schools currently in the conference leaving? Certainly there's been rumors around for a while now with San Diego State, Boise State, CSU, Air Force leaving for other conferences.
I don't think so.
How confident are you that those schools are going to remain in the Mountain West for the foreseeable future?
What's your definition of the foreseeable future, Kelly? Certainly, I'm comfortable now. We had a statement, our board of directors. We met a week ago Friday, and everyone made a commitment to remaining in the Mountain West Conference. I don't know what the definition of forever is, but certainly we're looking forward for several years to come with the makeup of, at minimum, these 12 members.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
As a reminder, if you have any other questions for Commissioner Thompson, to please raise your hand in the queue. Now, as we talk about basketball, we can't not mention the Thomas and Mack Center. The conference tournament is there every year. How much longer is the league currently scheduled to continue play at the Thompson Mack?
We have 2 more years, this year and next, and so we're starting that process. It's a process that we've gone through several times. Usually we do 3 to 4, 5-year contracts. We were in Denver for 3 years, but every other year it's been at Thompson Mack, as you mentioned, Bridget. And so we're beginning that process now to define whether we want to stay in Las Vegas. If we stay in Las Vegas, is Thompson Mack the facility, or do we look at a potential neutral site or other conference cities?
Well, Commissioner, we have another follow-up question from Kelly Lyle from the Fort Collins, Colorado. Kelly, the floor is yours.
I was trying not to monopolize your time, so I gave others a chance to chime in, but apparently none did. Given that the NCAA is now talking about to fix some of the parity issues that came up between the women's and men's Final Fours and tournaments last year, you're in one of the few conferences that has generally kept the men's and women's tournaments together, although the days have gotten separated a little bit more. What have you learned from the Mountain West about trying to run those tournaments concurrently, and would that be good or bad for the NCAA based on your experience in both of those entities?
Well, certainly we've proven, Kelly, it can be done. For our entire existence, we've had a joint men's and women's basketball championship. It's a lot of teams, it's a long week, but our fans seem to enjoy it and have the opportunity to watch the championship of both genders. So it can be done. I say that it can be done because we're talking about, at this point, 22 teams, men's and women's. We've had fewer than that participate in past years. Are you talking about just bringing the Final Fours together to one city? That would be a question. Are you talking about bringing a more expanded tournament? As you well know, the men's basketball championship was conducted 68 teams in Indianapolis and surrounding Indianapolis, and the women in San Antonio. And so, again, these are doable. It really depends on the size of the field and certainly the formats.
I guess what I'm wondering about is, it would seem that some of the experience the Mountain West has had, has it been helped or hurt as far as your ability to give both tournaments the exposure they need, the facilities, the training time, the practice time? Could that be done in a men's and women's Final Four in the same city, or would one almost certainly have to overshadow the other?
Well, again, I go back to the devil's in the details, Kelly. Are you talking about potentially playing 4 semifinal games, 2 men's, 2 women's on the same date in the same building? That's a lot of basketball. Or are you talking about having split venues? Are you talking about, I'm making this up hypothetically, the women on Friday, Monday, and the men Saturday, or Friday, Sunday, and the men Saturday, Monday? What is the format going to look like? And again, it goes back to that basic question of how many teams are you talking about? But it certainly is an opportunity, and that's what the Kaplan report detailed, is that perhaps enhanced opportunities for sponsorships, because you've got 2 different fan bases to a degree.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Kelly, thank you so much for your question. Commissioner, that rounds out the 2021 Mountain West Women's Basketball Media Days. We appreciate you taking the time to sit down and talk with us.
It's going to be a fun season. If last year we had New Mexico win the regular season women's championship and Wyoming the tournament, and it looks like it could be a tight race again this year. A couple teams with several votes to win the championship, so it'll be fun.